Here's the 3 questions you need to ask and answer, obviously, to take a healthy relationship break. Question number 1, what's the motivation? The goal of a healthy relationship break is to come back to the relationship with a renewed sense of enthusiasm, commitment, passion, excitement, right? That's to me, the goal. So, with that in mind, healthy reasons to take a break are things like to focus on taking care of yourself. I find that many people get lost in a relationship and have difficulty prioritizing their own needs when they're with someone else. You might have experienced this. Or you could discover you have a mental health issue you didn't know was there, or one that's been exacerbated by the relationship. So taking a break can be useful, or maybe it's just been exacerbated not even by the relationship, but you have to really focus. Taking a break can be useful to focus on yourself and not blame your partner or put off self care because you're focused on them. Another healthy motivation is some sort of natural distance. Maybe work has created a lot of distance. Maybe you're working in another country for a year or something, and your person can't move, and you're not, again, if you want to take a break, you don't have to take a break during that time. But often I found that when people don't work out how to figure out how to move together, it's often time to, they're thinking that they kind of maybe want to break up, or is this the right person for me? Or are we going in different directions with what we want? So it can be a healthy reason to take a break. I had this not long ago. I had a woman I was working with, and one of her parents got very sick, and she can work remotely. So this just worked. And her partner didn't want to come with her. And she really was looking at that like, wow, does this person have my back? Is this a person I want to be in a relationship with? And so this natural kind of place of distance, as she and I were talking, she could see that there were other ways that her partner didn't always have her back, wasn't willing to be inconvenienced for her, wasn't willing to make sacrifices for her. And this was just sort of a glaring example of that. And it was a really good time to maybe take a break. This is sort of a natural place. Another healthy motivation is if you're in a negative cycle, you can't break. You've tried therapy, you've tried other things, but in these situations, what I find is that people in a couple continue to trigger one another, and getting true distance physically and emotionally can be really helpful to realign your values, to get perspective, again, to work on yourself and your triggers. It's just sometimes so hard to do it when you're right next to each other, even no matter how hard you try. The fourth reason I think it can be a really healthy motivation is if you fundamentally want different things. It is more common than you think to fall in love with someone, to start building a life with someone, and only to you later discover that you want different things. And that doesn't, we grow and change as humans. If you got together at 23 and you're now 43, guess what? You might want different things. You might be in a very different place in your life with what you thought you wanted then. And it's really hard. I found that people got together in the beginning and, were like, yeah, I want kids. But then when it really came time, like now it's time to have kids, one of the people said, I don't want kids. When you first got together, it was clear that there was a commitment level and all that. But then later the other person doesn't want to get married and you do. The rules can change. I shouldn't say the rules change, because you don't want to beat up another person for growing and changing in their lives. I know it feels like you do because you're thinking, well, they promised me this when we first got together and they promised that and they promised that. I'm sorry, but this idea that you can promise anything is, I say with so much love in my heart, it's a little immature. We just can't. At some point, you got to get that. We just grow and change so much in our lives. I hope you grow and change. I hope you're always getting to the next level of your being. And people don't always grow and change in the same way. It's a tough thing. I think these are very healthy times to take a relationship break. What I've compared it to sometimes for folks is if it could be helpful to think of taking a break from from your romantic relationship the same as you might from taking a break from a job. Why would you take a break from a job? You would take a break because you're not sure if that career is for you. You would take a break because maybe you're having some mental health issues or you feel overwhelmed with what's being asked of you, right? Could have a medical issue that's come up and requires your full attention. Any of these could be reasons you feel like you need to step back and reassess your values and what you truly want and need from a career. Well, guess what? That you can really sort of apply that thinking to a relationship. So no matter what, you need to that first question, I have these in order. They're in order. The questions I'm saying are in order. So no matter what, you need to first identify the reason, the motivation you or your partner or even both of you want to take a break. And I know it's hard when your partner maybe comes to you and says they want a break and you're feeling rejected or abandoned or any of those things. And so do your best to take a breath. This is probably the hardest part of this, and to really listen and listen to the motivation. Don't fight, don't argue, because no matter what, just fighting it, if anything, what I find is that then partners go underground and just disappear. They have relationships with other people. They really do cheat, as opposed to not wanting to cheat and wanting to figure out something else that doesn't feel good. A lot of times, people look for something's missing in the relationship. So you look to outside the relationship to fill that void, as opposed to really being able to talk about it within the relationship and see if you can fill the void within. But when you're always rebutting what your partner says or denying or fighting with them about their needs or wants or telling them that they're wrong to have those needs or wants, what are they supposed to do? At some point, they deserve to be heard. So sometimes both partners think it's a good idea to take a break, but I have to tell you at the same time, but I found that to be a pretty rare phenomenon. It's generally one or the other. So this is ground zero. And if you or your partner, I'll say this, can't identify the motivation for taking a break, that's a huge red flag. It means somebody's lying and doesn't want to hurt the other person's feelings and starting a break from a place of deceit. You can't start a break from a place of deceit. That's a huge problem. It's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a healthy break. Again, I think people so often don't want to hurt someone's feelings, so they're trying to be nice. This shit makes me crazy. You're not being nice. You're being selfish. You don't like the pushback. You don't like the blowback. So you are being selfish. Don't put it on them. I'm trying to be nice and not. No, fuck that. It makes me crazy. Stop lying to yourself. Stop it. If you want a break and you can't say why, if you can't identify the motivation, it's just a feeling, it's just something, that is trauma bonding bullshit. And it's just bullshit overall. You know why you want a break. Get brave. Be courageous, and frankly, be respectful of your partner enough to say the reason why. Yeah, it probably is going to hurt their feelings. That's not on you. It's on you to be as loving as possible in delivering the information. But you've got to get there. You've got to talk about these things, or what are you doing? Question 2. What's our definition of our relationship break? Because there is no absolute definition of what taking a relationship break means, because it can be different for every couple. So the most important thing when taking a break is to have a mutual and very clear definition of what a relationship break is for the two of you. A relationship break is not a holiday from the relationship. This isn't about temporarily separating and then jumping back in wherever you left off. That's not going to help. There needs to be some changes that happen during the break, or the break won't be helpful. And the changes need to happen on both sides, not one side, both sides. Your relationship isn't on hold during a break because you're working on it. If you're truly taking a relationship break, you're working on it separately. And that's how you need to think about it. You have to have an open and loving conversation about how you want to define your break, given your motivations that we identified in question 1. Okay. So your third question is, what are our rules for our relationship break? So you got your motivation. What's our motivation? What's our definition of, again, it's personal. And then question 3, what are our rules for our relationship break? So the first and foremost, of course, is to decide on how long the break will be. It should have a definite beginning and end. I just have to say that. You can't have, well, I don't know yet. I have to see how I feel. Bullshit. No, 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 no. At least has to be, you know, whatever, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever you say, to at least come back together and talk again. Like, okay, yeah, I still need more time, or I don't, or here's what I've done, whatever. But you can't just have an indefinite, because that is on hold and that doesn't work. So you have to have a definite beginning and end. Number two is, if you live together, I believe someone needs to move out. I don't believe, I haven't seen it work. Let me just say that in my almost 40 years of doing this. And I asked this specific question to a bunch of other people, and no one else saw this work either. Okay. I asked it to clients who've done it before, and I did a lot of research for this, even though, qualitative research, I guess it is, not quantitative. And I asked a bunch of therapists and psychiatrists even, and psychologists and people I know. I really asked this question, and no one has seen it work. How do you like that? I'm not saying it can't work for you. I'm saying I had a couple people who said, well, they were in a very large home and they actually had an ADU, like an additional kind of unit with its own, it's like its own apartment that's attached to the house. That's the best. If that's the best you can do, I guess. But otherwise, if you're passing each other all the time in the kitchen and it's just not, and you're just in the home together, but not together, it's so triggering. You've got to decide who's going to move out. And if you've been cohabitating, now you've got a lot of other questions. How will you manage paying bills that were combined? When you add another living space, how will that be absorbed monetarily? Like, how are you going to divide things? If you have pet or pets, who's going to take care of them during this break? Then you have to agree to ground rules around how often you contact one another. When is it okay? How is it okay? Can you text? Can you email? Can you talk on the phone? Can you FaceTime? Can you meet in person? Are you going to have sex while you're sick? I hate that, by the way. I don't think that's a good idea at all. I think all of it's not a good idea. If you're taking a break, take a break. I will say that I don't think 2 weeks is enough for a true break, because how much work are you doing on yourself in that time? I do think you likely need about a month. I think it needs to be 1 to 3 months. I think longer than 3 months is way too long. I think shorter than a month is way too little. So I think it's somewhere in there. Again, unless it's physical distance that's doing the break, but I still think you should come back together at certain intervals at an agreed upon time that you will reconnect in some way. I think you have to have agreed upon ground rules around dating other people and sex, because again, personally, if the break is to have sex or date others, I think it's time to break up. Yeah, I said it. This is not a healthy reason to have a break. If the issue is I want to have an open relationship and my partner doesn't agree, then I think it's fine to take a break to again, assess that. Why do you want an open relationship? Why do I not want one? Whatever. And work on yourselves, but not to have sex or pursue relationships during the break because you haven't agreed on it yet and you're still in a relationship. Otherwise, it's not a relationship break. That's the thing. You are still in the relationship when you take a break, or it's not truly a break. It's just a breakup. So you've got to separate those things. You really do. And if you don't have an agreed thing for how that's going to look, then that's a problem.